going to be just in time for Valentine's Day next week. It's a picture frame, a 5x7 picture frame. And then we'll just make a quick stand. The way I did that is I had the dado stack on the table saw, and I set it at a 12-degree bevel, and I just ran that through I used a natural edge, but whatever board you want, and then your photo frame will sit in there, and the person won't have to mount it on the wall. This is made out of birch. You could do whatever you want for the centerpiece. You could use a piece of melamine and laser engrave in it, put a photo of your family in there. If you just want a photo, we could spray adhesive to a piece of wood and put it in there. It's a pretty quick project. The key on it is kind of the math and the layout. So step one, you probably want to jot all this down. Step one is you want to cut a board 1.5 by 32, and this is birch. Okay? And our picture frame, you could use it either way, in a landscape or a portrait. The side ones going vertically, these are called stiles. These are called rails. You usually run your stiles all the way to the top. And this is also a common way to build cabinet doors. Okay? So I want the inside to be 5x7. So this dimension is 5x7. I'll actually cut this board a little bit larger than that. These are going to go up 1.5 inches past the rails here. Okay. So if that's 5x7, these things on the outside here are going to be the 5 plus 1.5 plus 1.5. So this outside dimension is 8. And then this dimension right here is 7. So I need 2 rails at 7 and 2 stiles at 8. Everybody good there? And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut a groove. We're going to cut a dado into the side of the board with a router bit. So this router bit is a dado router bit. But the key on this project, what you really don't want to happen is you don't want to run that dado all the way out, so when you look at the side of the frame you have a hole there or a gap. What you really want is you want it to be flush on all sides like that. Okay? So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to start with my board 1.5 by 32. Let me draw that out. All right, I'm going to draw my board 1.5 by 32. And I'm going to measure, I'm going to cut these first. So I'm going to cut my stiles first. I do not want that dado in here. So I'm going to measure down 1.5 inches and not cut in here on the router. Then I'm going to do the 5-inch layout. And I am going to cut 1.5 inches, not router, 1.5 inches, not router, 5. I am going to router, 1.5 inches, not router. So that's going to give you my 2 stiles. So I'm going to plunge cut with the router bit here, come out, plunge cut back in, and come out. Everybody come with me on that? And then to cut my rails, I'm going to go all the way through, and then these ends will cover it up. So I'm going to leave a little margin here, say 1.5 inches as well. Then I'm just going to run that 7 and 7, right? And I'm going to run all the way out through the end. So we're going to take that one board and run it. So I'm going to start with a board that's 1.5 by 32. I'm going to do my layout on here. And then I'm going to run it on the router so I end up like this. And then I'm going to cross cut, cross cut, cross cut, cross cut. Okay? Let's go ahead and pause that if you would. 5, just like I laid it out on the board. I want to make sure I draw in square marks here. And this is nice because I have a large piece of wood to work with. So these are my 1.5 where I'm not cutting. And then this one here. Okay. So this is my whole picture frame. This is my beautiful new Woodpecker's router table. And then this is the groove cutter right here. Then I'm going to cut the dado in. With the fence, even though this is a bearing bit, I don't want to use all of that depth. So I have the fence pulled out, so I'm really only going about a 1/4 inch in. Again, so here's my board with my layout lines on it. I'm going to plunge in on the center line here, run that, and then pull out in the center line here. Okay, so I never put my fingers directly where that cutter is. So I'm going to keep my hands over here when I plunge in. If my hands were ever to go in front of that cutter, I'd use a hold down stick. Okay. I don't have it perfectly centered. I have a thicker part up front, which will look nice. But now these right here are going to be my rails, and then these are going to be my stiles. I'm going to cross cut here. I do have a lot of play for that inside sheet in here, but I do have to make sure that my opposing pieces are identical. You'll get the cleanest cut if you cross cut with the miter gauge on the table saw, but I'm just going to do this really quickly on the top chop saw. That will give me a little bit of blowout. So let's go over there. I'm cutting my stiles. I could go past that point by quite a bit. I'm going to cut just on that center line. I do want to make sure that my opposing pieces are identical. So I take my first cut and I place it right up here. So this is an exact measurement. So they're identical. And then these two right here are going to, I routed all the way through, and then these are going to be my rails. So I'm going to cross cut that one. Come over here, cross cut that one. Okay. Let's go over here to the table. Here's a 5x7 piece of melamine. Here are my cuts right here. It's going to go like this, and this is actually how you do a panel door, so that when there's expansion and contraction, your interior panel can expand without starting to warp. And then it's not perfect, but everything's proud, so I can see I do have it all in there. I do have those end pieces sticking out a little bit. I'm going to glue this up. I'm actually not going to use any hardware at all. I'm going to glue this up. I'm going to try and get one edge as straight as I can. Glue that all up. Let it dry. Then I'm going to cut these off. And I'm just going to do that on the table saw. And then I'm also going to take maybe a 1/16 off of this side and that side, and that'll clean it up. I'll do a router detail around the outside, and then I can make that stand. And then you could either, put a photo in there on that board, or you could just laser engrave on that picture frame. And you could see how clean it's going to look. Okay.